Tanned, leaned and sculpted as they preen at the camera, a growing number of young South Koreans have been posting their so-called body profiles on social media. Pictures and videos flaunting the process and results of sculpting their bodies, showing off a sporty physique appears to be the latest trend for both men and women in Korea, who, despite not being professional athletes, work out intensively for months to achieve that perfect shot of their bodies. The trend seems to have emerged and really intensified throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, with influencers fueling the move to look hot and healthy. But as more and more people go all out to capture the perfect body profile, the desire to look fit has turned into a rather unhealthy phenomenon for those who excessively diet and train. Today on Dialogue This Week, we discuss the highly hashtag body profile phenomenon in South Korea, as well as other countries seeing similar movements to look fit. And joining us for this discussion, we welcome Cho Do-kyun, author of As I Run and ambassador of F45 Korea and a sports influencer, as well as Dr. Elizabeth Snowbrick, clinical psychologist and clinical director at Adaptable Human Solutions. A very warm welcome to you both. And well, first of all, Do-kyun, now, what are body profiles exactly for some of our viewers who may not know what it is exactly, and how has it really taken off as a trend among the younger generations in Korea?
Yes, it is an abbreviation for body profile picture. The body profile picture is literally taking pictures of the body using lighting and makeup that would emphasize the healthy body to stand out. Body profiles were originally started as bodybuilding or weight training professionals to celebrate or verify their bodies. It was not something that ordinary people set as a goal. It is understood as a culture of the MZ generation. As a result, there are cases where weight training beginners suffer from various injuries or even mental illness while building a body forcibly in a short period of time.
Well, it does definitely take discipline, it seems, but I've also noticed that on social media there are more and more people posting these kind of pictures. And well, now Elizabeth, is this a common phenomenon happening around the world? I mean, we've seen bodybuilders before, we've seen influencers on bodybuilding and training, particularly over the stretch of the pandemic. But what's unique about Korea's current hype compared to other countries?
Yes, I would say that this practice is still by far most common in South Korea, but it has definitely spread across the globe, like you said, during the COVID pandemic. What I would say is most unique with Korea is, first of all, the vast number. It's something that is far more common that we see, like we've seen over 2 million hashtags on Instagram. It is something that is a phenomenon across the entire country. What we're also seeing is in other countries, they are starting to catch wind of the body profile, but rather than getting the professional body shoot, spending the time and the money and making the reservation for the professional shoots, it's more common in some of the other countries to have friends take the picture or take selfies or have others take the picture rather than the quality and the professional shoots that we're seeing. And in Korea in particular, like you mentioned, it's something that has become a phenomenon among non-celebrities, non-athletes. So it's something that's become very popular in the general public.
Exactly, even people I know just seeing very professionally shot photos of them. They look like headshots, right? So that's definitely not something that we see everywhere in the world, quite unique to Korea. And it's quite surprising, really, Do-kyun, because, well, in the past, Koreans seem to appreciate paleness and thinness as a sort of common beauty standard. But would you say that beauty standards have begun to shift? And how did this change really begin among the young generation?
Since around 2019, as the media and magazines emphasize the fantasy of men and women in good shape, the general population is also increasing. Particularly, it is common to take body profiles just to post on social media. Among young people in their 20s and 30s, there is a strong tendency to view them as a finished product of self-management, and usually they set up a shooting schedule first and then exercise for a short period according to the schedule.
And Elizabeth, well, it does seem that these people who post themselves online, having worked out, having sculpted their bodies. They're right to be proud of their bodies. They've worked very, very hard for them. But what is the psychology and the motivation really driving them to share videos and photos of themselves working out and really having sculpted their bodies to perfection?
Well, humans by nature are social creatures, and we have this need and desire to make connections. And social media has created an opportunity for people to make connections during times like COVID, where we couldn't make connections otherwise. And part of the need for this is to be liked, and sharing the videos and photos of working out creates a positive feedback. And that creates feelings of belonging. It creates a boost in self-esteem. And then other people witness this phenomenon, and they see the positive attention, and they desire that similar attention. And then that creates that habit that we're seeing in this trend, where more and more people want to receive that positive attention and that boost and that feeling of belonging and that connection.
And Taekyung, well, you are already working in the sports industry and you're a sports influencer, but we're seeing people who aren't sports professionals, they're starting to become quite extreme with all the training and the very highly restricted diet, of course. So looking at this sort of extreme level that people are taking things, how do people in your line of business really interpret this body profile hype?
First, self-motivation. It is said that there is a sense of accomplishment that you feel when you set a goal every moment and achieve that goal. Second, self-satisfaction. People say that it is meaningful to leave a record of the days of youth or the most beautiful moment in their lives. Third, it is a trend that especially the youngsters cannot be left behind. Sometimes they think, I want to do it because my friends do it, or so I have to do it because it's trendy. Fourth, they see it as a reward or keeping a record. It is an era where it is cultural to leave a record and take a body profile is to show off one's efforts. It's no different from winning a medal in a marathon or taking a picture at a famous tourist destination.
And it certainly does seem that people are not just doing it for the approval of others, but also for themselves. As you said, some interviews with people show that they want to highlight the best years of their lives, as they say. And well, of course, South Korea being very susceptible to trends, the general population, this kind of trend has taken off very fast. But it's quite concerning, Taekyung, because some people are seeing some serious side effects, such as dietary disorders and also self-awareness issues. So what exactly are the main concerns that we have right here?
That's right. Due to a too tough eating plan, there are many cases where they suffer from bulimia or anorexia after taking a body profile picture. Also, in many cases, they are not satisfied with the result of the body profile, so they repeat it several times. Often, this is also referred to as addiction.
And what are your thoughts on this, Elizabeth? I mean, there were already a lot of concerns about body image and body dysmorphia, anorexia. The list really stretches on. What are the possible positive impacts and also the dangers of taking these body profile pictures?
Well, for some, there can be positives. You know, there can be a sense of accomplishment that was mentioned. Also, it can create an opportunity for healthy eating habits for some to get into shape. Perhaps they hadn't focused on eating healthy or exercising previously, so this can give them an incentive to do that. I would say the most important thing is that it's done with the advice of professionals. So a nutritionist, a doctor, a personal trainer. When it's done over a period of time and the focus is really on healthy habits and really achieving a sense of accomplishment and a goal of being your best self, I think that can be a positive for many people. It's when it crosses over to the dangerous side effects that were mentioned previously, where we can run into some issues of eating disorders, we can run into issues of depression and anxiety. And these are long-lasting mental health side effects that require professional help. And so it's very, very important that if someone is going to engage in this, that they do use the advice of professionals and take it slow and very mindfully.
And Elizabeth, would you say it's rather easy for someone to really fall down that rabbit hole of falling into depression or just becoming overly self-conscious to the point of developing an eating disorder?
I would say it is a slippery slope, especially when you're posing or posting the pictures online for the critique of others. And when you're looking for that external validation rather than the internal satisfaction, it really does open the door, because there are people who are going to make negative comments. There are people who are going to point out flaws. And that can really open the door for some of those feelings that can go down the path of eating disorders, body dysmorphia, becoming obsessed with calorie intake, which can lead to feelings of depression and feelings of anxiety and feelings of helplessness. And it is a slippery slope. And so again, it needs to be done very carefully and monitored very closely by professionals.
And Togun, now there are also concerns that people are overtraining, they're working out too much over a very short period of time. So what are ways to exercise appropriately and also healthily?
Well, as a runner who has been running steadily for 13 years, I believe that exercise should be a process, not a goal. I think that one of the abundant pleasures of life should be exercising. Personally, my running motto is run for life. We may feel frustrated or unhappy because we over-exercise and injure ourselves. We should be able to feel pleasure in just enjoying the exercise itself, rather than thinking about grades, records, or goals. It's good to play with friends, and it's good to try new sports.
Well, it sounds like there needs to be a good balance between trying to look healthy and be healthy at the same time. And Elizabeth, how should we strike up this kind of leveled approach?
I think, as mentioned, it's important that it's a lifestyle change, that it's not the short-term goal of I'm going to lose as much weight as fast as I can and get as fit as I can. That the goal is to really make healthier habits over time, as was mentioned. I think that's an excellent point, that it should be a change in behavior over time rather than a short-term goal. Some very important things to pay attention to is how you feel after the event as well. Mentioned it's important to have professional advice, but after the event is when, or after the photo shoot is when we start to see potentially some of that slippery slope that was previously mentioned. So if there's an obsession over food intake, how much food, how many calories, or weight, if there is difficulty in restricting what is eaten, if there's what we call binging, which is once you're able to have a less restrictive diet, you find yourself overeating foods that you maybe wouldn't have eaten to the amount that you're eating. Obsessing over body imperfections, really honing in on certain parts of the body that you don't like and obsessing over them. Frequently weighing oneself, exercising to the point of extreme where it becomes unhealthy. Changes in mood, changes in behavior that's noticed by others, difficulty sleeping, feelings of sadness or anxiety that weren't there prior. I think those are all really big warning signs to watch for. And it's really important that not just the individual watch for them, but also the people who are in that individual's life. So if you know somebody who's a friend or a loved one or a family member who is going through, has made the decision to have a body profile shoot, that they are watching for some of these signs after. Because it might be difficult for the individual to recognize that slippery slope until it becomes too late. And so it's important that the loved ones are really monitoring that and getting the help if they need it.
Right, well, as good as body profiles may look, it's of course very important to be healthy and not just simply look healthy. Well, this is where we're going to have to end the conversation today, but that was Cho Deok-yeon, author of As I Run, ambassador of F45 Korea and sports influencer, as well as Dr. Elizabeth Snowbrick, clinical psychologist and clinical director at Adaptable Human Solutions. Thank you both so much for your insights today.
Thank you.
Thank you.